Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Geeks from the Multiverse. We apologize for last week. We didn't have an episode, but here we are. We're back again, and we are going to be talking about robots and geek culture. Yes, we're going to be defining what is a robot and what the heck we're going to be talking about as far as robots. But we're going to get right into it. I'm going to stop talking, and we're going to get right into it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome. If you're watching on YouTube or any of the other places we are, give us a like and a follow. Like we said, give us a fist bump, which is follow, interact, subscribe, and tell your friends. And we are in the midst of a engagement contest. So we wanted to just let you guys know of the week one winners, which is our good buddy, Jeff.
Oh, the amazing Jeff.
But we also did select Jim and Riley. These two guys I work with at The Haunt, which is Fright Kingdom, which is in Nashua. I didn't get to do the last week with them, unfortunately, but good month haunting with them in October. It was a good time, but they do have a Christmas one coming up in December, so.
Yeah, if you live in New England or really New Hampshire, you can just check out Matt with his maybe, Christmas-themed outfit, or is it still going to be the same thing that you were wearing before?
It sort of looks the same. I have a different mask. It looks more goblin, like zombie goblin, with like a kind of a gross-looking holiday sweater.
Okay.
Kind of thing. Okay. So, we did want to highlight, that Jeff, Jim, and Riley, were our winners for week one. And we are recording this on Saturday. So tomorrow we will be picking 3 new winners. And all you got to do to win, these sticker packs, which are pretty awesome, is just interact with us during the week and send us a Facebook message or leave us a comment or a message, and we'll reach right out to you.
Right. And so the reality is this, everybody, is that if you don't do it, then guess what? We're just going to start randomly picking people because we think, you know what? Why not? Because if you guys don't want to do it, then we're just going to start picking people that we know.
We want to give these things away. Don't
get me wrong. I will take a set, and I know Matt will take a set, and then we can just give the rest out. I don't care. But my point is we want to try to get back to you guys. I'll take some stickers. I don't care for me, but I know the whole point is
they're pretty. I'm not gonna lie. These are pretty awesome stickers, and some of them are really, really funny, and I literally stick them everywhere. Like they're pretty awesome, and so we will pick random winners if you guys don't interact with us, but we really do want to not just have you click like and leave a comment where we just kind of ignore you. No, we want to comment back or chat back with you. That's what we want to do. We're just not getting that in return. So you can go into Spotify and leave a comment. You can go into YouTube and leave comments. And I've left comments in return to many people.
Well, not even that. I understand that Facebook is, kind of a dying breed at this point, but if you do follow us on Facebook or even Instagram, hell, even on TikTok for that matter, it's not like we won't get notifications. So we can always message you on there as well.
And we have videos on TikTok. We have videos on YouTube. We have stuff, granted we didn't do anything last week, a whole lot that we usually do.
I know.
But we have past stuff, and that's kind of the thing. We have stuff that we've done in the past, and
you're more than welcome to go on there and be like, hey, guys, I appreciate what you guys are doing. You guys are doing great, blah, 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 whatever. Anything at this point. You could be like...
Yeah, and we have a lot of... whatever. On YouTube, we have a lot more shorts that we have posted, so you can go on there and, leave comments and, let us know, if there's... a piece of an episode hey, you guys should use this piece as a short, or, you guys should do that, give us an idea of what you guys want to hear as a short, that's the kind of stuff that we want to hear. But
hell, if you want to just leave us a comment, like we've mentioned before, and it's kind of random, but like even with the merch stuff, anything. I mean, anything that you want to give us.
If you guys just want to leave us send us a message and go, you guys really suck.
We'll
send you I'll send you a message and be like, hey, I'll send you a sticker.
Just tell me where you live.
Yeah. just give me your address and I will send you a sticker. I don't even care.
I'll even send it by pigeon carrier if you really like. Yeah. That's what's going to help you. But no, I agree with Matt. But anyways, too, guys, by the way, this is John, if you didn't already know, because I know he didn't really introduce me in the beginning. I'm just kidding. Yeah. It's a joke.
And this is Geeks From The Multiverse, by the way.
Geeks From The Multiverse podcast. If you haven't already noticed already, if you're new here, then welcome. And today's episode, I know Matt's kind of talked about it a little bit, but robots. The one thing that it can be kind of controversial, Matt.
There's a lot of robots.
It's not even just about the robots.
There's a lot of robots, and
it's also
it's really
defining it. That's really the question.
Yeah, it's really what are you and I defining as a robot, and that's kind of like, is it really just a machine, or what percentage of
does it have to be versus let's say a human or an alien of some sort?
If it has a head and a brain, but machine parts, is it technically a robot? Or does it have to be 100% synthetic to be that's really the question.
And, the other question is, because we're going to already mention this now, but we're excluding robots that basically have to be controlled. Okay?
Right.
So everything
these are we're talking Voltron, Power Rangers, Megazords, the robots in Real Steel, Jaegers in Pacific Rim, all of these kind of robots that need to be controlled by somebody.
Right. So things
driven.
Right. So think of the Terminator, or I know we're going to talk about this too, but RoboCop, or Doctor Who, the robot in that, stuff like that.
Right.
Things that have their own kind of mind, and they're talking, and they have these capabilities and whatnot. So that's the kind of stuff we're talking about, because the reality is it's when we're defining robots, we're looking at how, what is it, what is technically, we're saying too, the percentage of what is the robot? Let's say.
And most of these have bodies, not something that's in a wall that's
talking to you from a screen.
I want to say it's and I might be wrong with this name.
What?
HAL 3000? Is it HAL 3000? It was one of these robots that was
yeah, it was basically in a screen and just talking to you.
Yeah, it was in a screen, or it's in a wall, and it's just we're not talking about that either. We're talking Bender or Mega Man or
Terminator,
something, a physical body. Yeah, but defining a robot. So I'll just get into these two. Machine capable of carrying out a complex series of actions automatically, especially one programmable by a computer. And a machine that resembles a living creature in being capable of moving independently, as by walking or rolling on wheels, and performing complex actions such as grasping or moving objects.
Yeah, I would say that's, you're kind of two basic, functions of really what a robot could be. There could be a shit ton more, I would say. You could have, it depends, again, this is where, these are just the basic foundational, pieces. But
right.
The reality is, when we look at all these characters, again, we're not talking about every goddamn robot on the planet here, but we're talking about just, some of the ones that are more common.
It's just a basic definition of a robot. Because in geek culture,
there's a shit ton.
There's a shit ton of robots that are doing more complex actions than just grasping or moving objects.
Even before the podcast, Matt and I were talking about it. We're even Star Wars alone that has so many damn robots that you can't even mention them all.
Oh yeah, you can. The original trilogy, not the newer ones. The original trilogy, you're going into the Jawa.
Oh yeah.
Ship that they're driving around in. There's so many in there, and Jabba's palace. There's a lot in there, and
talking about the Death Star. You're talking
Sky City. There's that whole kind of garbage chute of
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
junky robots that's in there.
Well, and again, like there's so many that we're not. I mean, Star Wars alone has its own thing, but like we're talking even other like franchises or like set of movies and stuff. Like they just have too many to count, and there's just we could sit here probably for a while and talk
between literature, film, TV, comics, other media. Like we could be here all day, all week, all month, all year.
Right, and we're not doing that.
I mean, even in in film, you could go back to, the 1920s, the 1930s science fiction, and you can see like
the World at War. Oh, wait, World at Wars? No, World. You know what I'm talking about? They remade the movie, but it was like an alien invasion kind of a thing.
Yeah,
the World at War.
Yeah, that'd be whatever. It was just a popular thing to like do these like science fiction. I mean, you have Lost in Space. I mean, that's a perfect example. Yeah. Like you have like those style robots or like the really like humanoid looking robots. It's just a guy in like a.
Well, you have like Space Odyssey. Well,
it looks like a tin can aluminum suit. And it's like
I mean,
it's like really weird looking, but
I mean, and you also have like I was just joking around, but like one of the longest running fucking TV shows of all time, Dr. fucking who has like from the 1960s and it's still going for that sake. I mean, I'm just saying because it's still one of the longest.
You got the Cybermen in that one.
Well, there's a lot.
And the Daleks.
Anyways, we're going to be talking about too much here, but
all right. So let's get into the cartoon, anime, video game. Like genre. These are, let's get into that genre because.
Well, Bender. First off, I mean, this guy, if you don't know what Futurama is, I'm going to tell you right now. It's like if you take basically Family Guy, American Dad, The Simpsons, and just like you mixed them all together and you said, hey, you know what, we're going to do this all in the future. And then, you look at Bender, who basically, it kind of reminds me of like if you take Brian from Family Guy, takes, who's the alien? Roger. And then you take like, trying to think of The Simpsons here. I would say maybe like Mo, not Mo. Yeah, maybe a little Mo, the bartender. Like you take kind of them and like just put him in a robot who's just like really doesn't give a shit, and his only job is really to bend metal.
Yeah,
or really objects in general. So like literally, it was just to bend steel. That was his only job. And that's why he's like, "Oh, I'm the greatest bender of all time," and he would just bend like steel or whatever. And it was like that was his technically only function in the show. But go on.
Yeah, I mean he's described by fellow character Leela, who has the one eye in the show.
Yes, I know who Leela is.
Well, some people may not have watched
You're right.
I'm not a huge Futurama fan, to be honest.
But
I've seen it, but I'm not a huge.
I'm sorry, man. I'm just surprised.
It was usually one of those things like when I had cable.
It's funny. Hulu has it now, so you could definitely watch it. I'm just saying.
But that's like purposefully watching it.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying when I had cable.
Oh, when it was on.
It was on, it was on that channel where like
it was on like TBS or one of the other ones
where you were watching, like a show or a movie.
Well, it was
and then as soon as the movie was done, like if you were doing something like this is the show that was fucking on.
Well, hold on. It was either that or like Family Guy or American Dad. I mean, it would all kind of depend.
Yeah, I mean, it was like Futurama, then it would go American Dad, and then Family Guy. They would all kind of like one right after another. But anyways, the description from Leela was that Bender is this alcoholic, whoremongering, chain-smoking gambler.
That's basically the best way to describe him.
Yeah. But his name is actually Bender Bending Rodriguez.
Yes.
Which is weird.
Well, his last name, because originally he was, so this is what I do remember from the show, is that he was actually made in Mexico.
I'm opening a can, by the way.
That's okay. Can of whoop ass right now. There you go. I don't know what just happened. I just got all of my notes just disappeared. That's great.
Must have been my can.
Hold on. Let me just back up here for a second.
While you're continuing with that thought, I'll go into the. He was designated in universe as Bending Unit 22, Unit number 1729, serial number 2716057.
Okay, so this is what it was.
Which is really crazy.
I know what you mean. So originally, yes, he was born in Mexico or was made in Mexico, It was some basically inspector. There was like in the show, there was basically an inspector of robots or whatever. It's like inspector number whoever. It turns out, I don't care if you have watched it, if you haven't watched it, it's kind of whatever. I mean, if you ever watch it, you'll understand what I mean. It's actually, I'm trying to remember his actual name. It's the Jamaican guy in the show. I know you probably don't know off the top of your head. Anyways, he's an inspector in the show, but he like works with Professor Farnsworth and all them. But basically, he's the one that actually does basically the inspecting of like different objects and different things. And so like he basically did Bender, believe it or not. He actually was the one that inspected him. It was like some kind of grade or whatever, but basically it was like he was a failing robot. He was about to get tossed and he didn't want to do that. So he actually said that he was a like acceptable robot in a sense. So basically the guy in the show, this Jamaican dude, okay, I cannot remember his name, basically saved Bender's life when he was a baby. But that's all I'm going to say. But anyways, in the show, Bender really is best friends with Fry. So Fry is he's like the great uncle of Professor Farnsworth in the show. And so like he's a delivery boy. He gets basically frozen in time in this basically like cryogenic chamber. He goes back to, or basically goes fast forward in time to like the year, I think it was like 3000 in the show. And so it's like he was frozen in like 1999, gets frozen up until 3000, and then that's where the show starts.
The Jamaica guy is Hermes Conrad.
Yes, Hermes. Yes, sorry, I couldn't remember his name, but he's an inspector. I can't remember what number, but he is the one that basically saves Bender's life when he's just being made in that, or the creator. So, but that's just something you find out later on the show. But like I said, Bender's best friend is Fry. Bender likes to do stupid shit. Like he literally is the one that's like, oh, let me just drink all the alcohol. And let me just do the dumbest shit on the planet. So like he's just the guy that you want to fuck shit up. That's the guy you call.
Yeah, he's well-meaning, but like he's just kind of dim-witted and.
I mean, he's a pretty smart guy, but he does some really stupid shit sometimes. Yeah. And Fry doesn't help. Like those two together, yeah, that's a fucking disaster waiting.
He's another character by Billy West.
Billy West.
If you know who Billy West is, he does a lot of the
Billy West. Oh yeah, he's big time with the voice acting community.
And Bender is done by a pretty popular guy that does a lot of voices too, John DiMaggio.
Yes, he does. I'm trying to remember. Oh wait, he did. Well, I know Adventure Time. Jake was one he did. I know he did. I think he did something in Batman too. I think at one point. I don't know if he was the Joker or something, or if he did.
But, Billy West also does Farnsworth too. I mean,
he does Fry. He does a lot of the characters. I mean, Billy West he does a lot of the different stuff. I mean, like we're talking like even back in the day of like Cartoon Network and different things. Like he's done that. I think Hermes is actually done by another guy who's actually pretty well known. He's actually a very well known voice actor too.
Says Phil Lamar.
Yes, Phil Lamar is a very big voice actor, especially like he does like Jon Stewart and Green Lantern, basically.
Yep, Jon Stewart, Samurai Jack.
Yes, he was Samurai Jack, and he did a lot. He's done a lot. Like I think
Ollie Williams and Judge Dignified Q Blackman and Family Guy.
Yep. Phil Lamar is another. I'm telling you, Futurama has a lot of good talent.
He provided voices for Metal Gear, Final Fantasy, Jack and Daxter, Infamous, Dead Island.
One of our favorite games. I mean, come on,
Mortal Kombat. Yeah,
I mean, I'm telling you, like, there's a lot of. Especially in Futurama, there's a lot of voice actors that are.
He was also, great. I mean, he also appeared in Pulp Fiction, Biodome, Spider-Man 2, and Real Steel.
Oh, I didn't realize it was in Real Steel.
And he was also in Mad TV.
Oh shit!
Just to throw it out there, yeah.
My point is when you're looking at the cast of the voice actors wise for Futurama, there's a lot of good, talented, voice actors that are doing it.
Yeah. Still probably. I mean. I don't know if they're doing new episodes of it, but...
What, of Futurama?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, they just created... That's why on Hulu, they picked it up, and they're actually continuing on from what they were. But anyways, I mean...
So, yeah, moving on to the next one. I mean, there's a few in here that we're talking about. We're not talking... We're
just going to mention them, but we're not going to talk fully
We're not mentioning all of them, but one of the old school. I mean, this is
like, I would say late 80s, early 90s.
This is old school, and I remember playing these games, and they were some of my favorites. Mega Man. Yeah. So he's an android, originally named Rock, nicknamed Mega in later installments.
So he's not the Rock. He's just known as Rock.
Rock.
So if you put the, then it would have been copyrighted, right?
Rock Man. I don't know.
The Rock Man?
Rock Man.
What's your name? My name's Rock Man.
Can you smell what the Rock Man is cooking?
Yeah. You're like, excuse the fuck out of me?
Excuse me?
Are you going to base it off of me?
Can you smell what the Mega Man is cooking?
Bitch.
Shooting? I don't know.
Shooting what?
So he was created as a lab assistant by the scientist Dr. Light, with Dr. Wily as his partner. And then following treachery by Dr. Wily, in which he reprogrammed most of Dr. Light's robots, Rock volunteered to be converted into a fighting robot to defend the world from Wily's violent robotic threats, thus becoming Mega Man.
I mean, I remember a little bit about Mega Man growing up a little bit. I mean, it wasn't, because it was more like if you would, and I'm going to say it, like, I know you remember playing it like as a kid, but like, you know, like if I go to like an arcade, right, I would say like an old school arcade, you could find Mega Man, especially in some of like the older kind of style arcades and stuff. And you could play as him, you could do all that. I mean, it was cool, don't get me wrong. I think it was more like,
I think it was just cool because like there were different, like obviously Mega Man, like he had his original kind of like blue.
It was like the blue, white.
It was like different colors. It was different, two different shades of blue. But he had like the arm cannon. But like he became like within the game, like you got different power ups.
Well, and
there were different types of Mega Men that you became.
Well, it was like I remember there was like a red version of him. I think there was different colors of him too. I think that's what you're talking about, like the different variations of him. I think it might have had like different powers or different, kind of abilities that you could use, during those time frames. But like, I don't remember what they were. I do remember there was a red version of him. I don't know if there was like any other that I can think of. I don't know if there was like a black or a purple, or I don't know. I mean, you might have to enlighten me on this one because I'm not entirely sure on the colors or what the abilities were.
Yeah. So it was, I mean, some of the bosses required special weapons. So the robot masters needed a specific element or an object. So like Fireman, Iceman, Electric Man, Bomb Man.
So Mega Man was just basically the overall, but when you're saying like the Iceman, Electric Man, Fireman, these were just different variations of him, just specifically that ability.
Right. Yeah. And that's the kind of the idea is like you were able to pick up like these different variations of power-ups that you could get from.
Okay. Well, no, I mean, that makes more sense because like I understand like his cannons, it was basically like a photon cannon in a sense. It was just like this ball of energy that he would just blast at people, but it was like boom. It was like taking like sorry. It's like taking like Dragon Ball Z and like that, like Kamehameha, like, throwing it at somebody like that, but that power, like that you would, blow from his cannon, basically. I know that it would just like kind of blast them away, but like, I didn't know about the others, like you said, Electric Man, the Fireman, Iceman, all that stuff. Like, I didn't know if it was just like a beam of like ice or a beam of electricity or a beam of fire, or something like that.
Yeah. So you had I'm looking at a picture here. So you had your default, which had the, one fist and an arm cannon.
Yeah.
Metal Blade. He was kind of like almost like brown and yellow. And he shot like 3 metal blades.
Oh, okay.
There's one that's, it looks like, I don't know if these are made up or if I'm actually looking at these right, but,
I mean, we'll find out.
Ice Slasher. He's kind of blue and white and he looks like he's shooting like a shard of ice.
Okay.
Leaf Shield. Has like a shield of leaves. I don't know how that.
I don't know if that's gonna be helpful.
Don't know how helpful that fucker would be, but Crash Bomber. That he looks like he's kind of like shooting a drill that looks like a bomb. Electric Shock. He looks like he's like kind of just like shooting electricity out of his hand. Top Spin. He's just fucking spinning. Yep, but.
Yeah,
you get my point. Like,
I get exactly your point.
Like, yeah, the base weaponry that you would have changed. And I mean, obviously, like you have like, Mega Man 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
There's too many.
And I mean, there's
a lot.
There's a lot of them.
I mean, it's
At this point now, I mean, unless you probably like are on like Nintendo.
Actually, it was more Capcom, I think, right? Because didn't they like pick them up? It was like Capcom or something like that.
Maybe, but
I don't remember. I really don't off the top of my head. But the problem is, like I said, Mega Man, I'm not saying it's not popular culture, but it's not like if you think about it right now, I guarantee you more people will know who Mario is than Mega Man. If I'm being totally honest, like, you know what I mean? Like if I'm taking the comparison to Mario and Luigi.
Here we go. This is the right one.
What?
Guts Man.
Oh, sorry. Guts Man?
Guts Man.
Let me get, so he shoots guts at people?
It looks like he just kind of throws a big ball.
A big ball of what? Like, that's what I'm more curious about.
It just looks like a big ball. It doesn't, maybe like a
great ball of fire.
I
have no idea.
Iceman.
Let me guess. Ice.
Bomb Man. He throws like like the classic round bomb.
Oh, yeah, with the little, coming out. Yeah, like the cannonball.
Oil Man. He shoots oil, I guess. Yeah. Fireman. He shoots fireballs.
Let me guess this. Come Man. Sorry.
What?
What? What? There was a guy named Come Man. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, you cunt.
Whoa. Did you just say that?
I didn't say nothing.
Okay. Rewind. What'd you say, man?
I didn't say nothing.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right. Moving right along.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. Before we go, so the one thing that we're going to mention real quick. Yes. So the first two so far, Bender and Mega Man. Bender is a full-on robot. There is no doubt about it. It's like 100%. There is no like.
I think all of these are actually fucking robot.
Well, Mega Man, I would assume like I didn't know if it was like a half and half because of like it had like a humanoid face, or was it a straight up? Was it like a straight up? It says robot?
He's an android, so I'm assuming.
You know what I mean? Because like we don't know. I don't know.
He's created by a lab assistant, so I'm assuming he was just converted to be a fighting robot. So.
Okay.
I mean, he's an android, so I would say Mega Man is an android.
Full on. Okay, so he's a full on robot.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Now, real quick. So yes, if you don't know who Transformers are,
we did a whole episode on.
We sure did. Yeah. Well, it wasn't a whole episode, but we definitely did talk about. Oh yeah. Well, I guess we did because it was G.I. Joe and them. But yeah, my point is Autobots and Decepticons. These guys are full on.
We actually did
robots.
several episodes on G.I. Joe and Transformers.
Well, yes, but we also did talk about like with the '80s stuff as well. We kind of mentioned a lot more of them. But anyways,
Autobots, Decepticons,
that's 100%.
Transformers, like they're
100%.
They consider themselves to be organic machines.
But they are technically robots.
We would consider them to be robots.
But they are alien technology, like technologically advanced society. But I mean, they are robots in our eyes, if we're going to say it. Because these guys are talking. They have their own minds. I mean, yes, do they have some kind of like, I wouldn't say hive mentality. I mean, they do have the Unicron and like things like that. But like,
But nothing is, humans are not like driving them around I mean, not like in the movies, like,
well, in the movies, if they're transforming into like let's say a Camaro, then yes, they're technically driving.
They have the ability to drive on their own is
true,
which is the difference between like them being, a Megazord.
I mean, you wouldn't be driving a
Megazord doesn't have the ability to move on its own.
Well, no, what I was going to say is you're not driving let's say a Walther P-38.
Well, the Walther P-38 could fly through the air.
I mean, which is dumb because I've never heard of a flying gun like that, but just go on.
But
I'm just saying, it was a random comment. It was only because if you ever seen the animated show. But
and if you're wondering why we're talking about a Walther P-38, that is Megatron.
That is the dumbest thing.
That is what the original Megatron turned into.
Which is dumb.
He could fly through the air.
But again, he didn't have wings.
He didn't.
Which is what I'm saying. I'm like, how do you have a flying gun with nothing? It's just a flying gun.
He didn't have wings, but again, he's a robot, and it's a fucking cartoon. It makes sense.
I understand, but like everything else made sense when you look at Starscream when he's a fucking or like a fighter jet. I mean, that makes more sense than a fucking gun like that. But anyways, I know.
So quickly going to move over because if you want to know more about that, you can listen to some of the other episodes that we've done on those. I'm gonna quickly just mention these. We're not gonna talk about them, but they are robots.
Iron Giant, man.
Giant.
That was one of my favorite movies back in the day, man. That was a good shit.
I can't say that. I mean, I'm not one for Disney cartoons.
Actually,
I mean,
hold on.
That one in
Disney.
Baymax.
That's not Disney. Iron Giant is not Disney. Let's get that straight.
Although Iron Giant was in, what the hell was that? Was that fucking movie?
You mean LeBron James? It was in the Legacy. It was basically like Space Jam, but like
no. It was the virtual reality one.
Oh, you're talking about shit. It was the video game. Yeah. Right. Oh, Ready Player One. You're talking about that one?
Yes.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in that. I mean, technically, I'm going to say it. He was in technically LeBron James, like the new Legacy Jam, like that. That basically Space Jam 2 in a sense.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a whole lot of really Iron Giant, but like I've always liked it, and I mean, it's just one of the. I understand it depends on you. I get it.
You don't, this one was.
I know it was before my time, but I do remember the Jetsons. So don't.
The Jetsons were actually on when I was a kid.
I understand that, but I did watch it. So don't say that I didn't.
Rosie the robot, of course, was the sarcastic robot.
Who was the maid for the Jetsons? Yes.
Baymax.
Yes.
Big Hero 6.
Mm-hmm.
But there are really two major robots, I would say, in the Mortal Kombat series, but I listed 3.
I didn't really know about the third one, but the first 2, yes, because they were more the robots in the actual series of games.
Yes. So Cyrax and Sector. I don't know.
Sector. I think it's.
I don't know why I said Sector. But they were part of the Lin Kuei cybernetic assassins. Cyrax was yellow and Sector was red. These guys were really part of the Lin Kuei, who, they were basically, like I said, they were assassins and they were sent out to basically just kill anything that they were told to kill. That's pretty much it. I mean, in the game, you could use them as a character to fight with, but in the Mortal Kombat, storyline, they were basically just part of the Lin Kuei, and they would be sent out to assassinate any enemies of the Lin Kuei.
I mean, I don't really think there's much to talk about with really them. I mean, it's more just. They're more important, I would say, later on, only because, when they're rebuilding the Lin Kuei, because of, basically when Bihan, the original Sub-Zero, is basically, I can't remember. Who's the younger brother?
I don't remember the name.
Yeah, but anyways, the Bihan being the older one, he becomes a new Cybot, so on and so forth. But, the thing is about the Lin Kuei is,
it's at some point with the third one.
Yeah, I know, but basically, they come in and they transform the Lin Kuei to basically become again robotic assassins instead of doing just regular traditional ninjas in a sense.
And that's where Smoke comes from, because Smoke initially was kind of just a gray ninja, like all the rest of the Mortal Kombat ninjas. He had just had the gray coloring, top with smoke kind of around him.
Yeah, I mean, really, his power was more and this is kind of one of the cool things about him is yes, his body could transform into basically smoke, so that way, for example,
he had a lot of more teleporting power.
The thing about him was what I thought was kind of cool was basically if he was in a gas form, if he was around you, he could kind of suffocate you in a sense, and then just go back to his original self to basically knock you out. So it was kind of an interesting kind of concept with him, but when you look at Sector and Cyrax, I mean, yes, the color, schemes and whatnot. I think that really the only difference is I don't know if they had different moves or different maybe power sets between the two.
I mean, with them being, cybernetic, I mean, with the human Smoke, obviously he was a ninja, so he had more of just punching and kicking and teleporting and that kind of stuff. But Cyrax and Sector both had more bombs and
well, yeah, I mean, yes, I know what you mean by
things
that.
like that, but they had more cybernetic powers that were like that.
Well, they also because they were cybernetic. I mean, their speed was 10 times or it was 100 times faster, so they could hit you.
Yeah,
in a split second where, most people would be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you just never would have known.
With Smoke, he actually was with the Lin Kuei, obviously. He fought alongside Noob Saibot. He was first seen in Mortal Kombat 2.
We're going to say this. The original series of Mortal Kombat, not this new stuff that's coming out.
The correct...
Oh, here we go. Okay.
The
OG.
The correct version of Mortal Kombat.
No, we're going to try this again. The OG of Mortal Kombat. Because we don't... Look, you could say the correct versus not. I'm just telling you, your correct and my correct could be totally two different things. I'm just telling you.
The correct version of Mortal Kombat.
Whatever you say, buddy. Even though he's wearing it right now.
I believe he was killed, and his soul was basically tortured and trapped inside of a cyborg in Mortal Kombat 3.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was...
And that's where he became the Cyber Smoke.
Well, the one I was thinking of is more like Quan Chi, like, kind of like fucking with him a little bit and like putting him into an android in a sense. Like, that's the only thing
it's basically like if you took, you take the Cyrax and Sector bodies, which Cyrax and Sector had the same body, they just had different colors.
Well, and
if you take that body and then you made it gray and then you added smoke around it,
well, if you think about it, what's funny about, I think both Cyrax and Sector, they had that stupid, their hair, what they called hair, but it looked like basically like it was. I always call it like Jamaican braids. You know what I'm talking about? Those weird things. That's kind of what it was. It was like, taking that, but like without the hat, of course, but like doing that. I didn't know about like if Cyber Smoke looked exactly like that, where like they had the braids in the back or whatever the hell it was, but like I would assume I don't know. It might be a little bit different. I don't think it's going to be like, because Smoke in the original games, like he always had like the spiky white hair, you know what I mean? Like, or that like grayish white hair, in a sense. He didn't really have like anything, too fancy about him in that sense, but go ahead. I feel like you're going to tell me something.
It looks exactly the same, just gray. Like I said.
So literally, what, exactly like Cyrax and Sector with those stupid braids in the back?
Yeah.
Well, that's just dumb. I don't know why you do that, but okay, that's fine.
It looks exactly the same.
That's
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not even going to go there. Anyways,
I believe there's there's a purple one too. I don't know who's the purple one.
I thought
what was Smoke the purple one?
No.
I'm gonna look it up.
I'll look it up. How about this? You look that up. I'm gonna start talking about some of the other ones. So okay, so I know we're talking about like video games so far, but we're gonna jump into films real quick, unless he's gonna tell me what the purple one is. So we've mentioned a couple of these before, right? So we're gonna talk about like the Terminator, right? So the T-800, the T-1000, the TX or the Terminatrix, right? Those again with being in the Terminator, like Terminator 1, 2, and 3. And all the frickin', prequels and the TV shows and all this other stupid shit, like...
That was Rain.
That's who it was.
Yeah.
Rain was a little bit... Yeah, you're right. That's right. I forgot about Rain. But anyways,
yeah.
Yeah, so Terminator, I know, Matt, we've also had an episode literally on Terminator and granted on the Matrix 2, but...
Yeah,
we talked about a lot of this, too.
Yeah, that one was the fan theory, but, if you're talking like... machine. They were more called machines, but we know that they were robots. And I think, you look at Terminator and you're looking at like in today's society and you're like, you're looking at, different videos and these people, even Elon Musk, like recently is creating these like, robotic things. And I've seen these videos of like them creating like they're just heads, but like
they're talking, yeah,
and they're like
what you're talking about.
They're talking and they're like the eyes are blinking and the mouth is moving and they're it's just like it's like so frightening.
Well, the only other thing I can think of is like I think it's actually I want to say it was either MIT or Harvard. I remember I think you and I were talking about this too, or we saw this a while back. It was that stupid robot that they had like holding a box, and it's the legs are like kind of like horses or something. It's like the horse hooves.
Oh yeah,
it's moving, and like when they push it over, it gets all pissed off, and he like does his thing again. And he like trying to does it. He basically it's kind of weird, but like when you look at this robot though, it's kind of the first steps or the pioneering of like. Of it actually walking like that. That's where, like when you look at Elon Musk's like faces and like shit like that, you take that and you take what they're doing at MIT, Harvard or whatever. and you start to learn the walking mechanisms and shit, that's basically what you're going to start to look at when it comes to like androids and robots of what we're known to see in films and video games and stuff like that. Because like this is the precursor for this shit.
You look at Terminator and you look at the Matrix, and I'm not going to get into the fans. I'm not even going to get there.
Please don't.
But you look at Terminator and you look at the Matrix and you look at what happened in those movies, and you look at what they're doing in real life, right? Like right now,
It's
and
close.
if you all of a sudden see in the media in the next 2 to 5 years them advertising robotic household assistants,
We're fucked.
we are right fucking there where the Terminator and Matrix movies are starting.
We're fucked.
That's
fucked.
exactly where we are.
We are fucked.
But I mean, I think as far as robots, the Terminators are kind of like the ultimate, and they only get worse. Like obviously, like the TX or the Terminatrix is I think the ultimate worst of them all.
Look, the point,
I didn't even get into the Genesis movie because I hate that Terminator Genesis movie. But
Matt, my point is, I think at this point is it doesn't matter if it's the T100, the 800, the 1000, the TX, the whatever the hell you want to call it. It don't matter. Once we get there, we're fucked. I've said this already. The point is, let's hopefully not make the same mistakes.
In the video in that Tom Clancy game, we couldn't even kill it.
Exactly. So my point is, let's not get to that point, or let's not make the same mistakes that these people have made. Okay, so let's just Yeah. Anyways,
so yes, we already had said Star Wars has a shit ton of androids, and we all know who R2D2 is. We know who C3PO is, and thanks to the newer movies, we know who BB-8 is.
Yeah.
So we're not going to even define those. If you want to, go look them up yourselves. But the couple of them that I think are kind of overrated and not really looked at a whole lot, battle droids. I know that they're kind of stupid and
well, it depends on what you're talking
Roger.
So you're talking about the precursor,
the battle, the prequel battle,
Well, then you got droidicas who are basically the same things, but they're rolling jets, and they're just kind of boom, 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 and they're in a shield, and they go, ba-ba, ba-ba, you'd have to see it, but basically, Matt knows what I'm talking about, but it's just you look at these two, Roger, you hear that, and you're like, oh, I know who those fuckheads are, because they are stupid. They really,
oh yeah, they are stupid, but you don't just see one battle droid. You see 1,000.
Oh, you're more than 1,000. I mean, you're talking armies.
You're talking armies of battle droids, but
and even droidicas. I mean,
droidicas though, you may not see thousands of them, but
you see a lot.
Literally 2 could take you out because they're shielded.
Well, and the thing,
and that's the problem.
And so, when you're looking at your Jedi, right? So your Jedi masters, your higher level experienced Jedis, those are the ones that could take them out. I'm not saying a Padawan couldn't take them out. What I'm saying is that if you're not trained, it's probably not a good idea to take them out, because these guys are, again, shielded, and they need
I can tell you, in the very first movie, which is the very first movie, not episode, 5.
Okay,
I'm talking
4.
I'm talking 1.
Okay, so you are talking about prequel. Okay.
I'm talking 1. I'm also talking, yes, I understand Obi-Wan is a Padawan.
Is he a Padawan, or is he?
He's a Padawan in episode 1, in the very start of the movie, at least.
Okay.
But you're also talking, what the heck? Now I can't even think of his name. Qui-Gon Jinn, who's a Jedi Master.
Yep.
Yes, he burned, they exit the room that fills up with gas, and there's droids out there. They get rid of the droids, and the droidicas come. They don't fight the droidicas. If you watch that movie,
they actually hide.
They actually run really fucking fast.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I know. They're not something to mess with.
When I first saw that movie, I actually because when I watched it, it was on tape. Okay, that's how old I am.
You hear that? Yeah. It was on tape. It was on VHS. Yes, I know what VHS says. Don't you?
So I actually rewound it and had to watch it to see how Now you can actually just go on YouTube and you can actually
see it.
You can actually just like use your cursor and see how fast like they CGI'd them going so fast out of that scene. And like you're talking a Jedi Master and yes, a Padawan. They could have easily taken out these droidicas, but they decided to run.
I think, like I said,
It just means how formidable these things are.
oh no, that's what I mean. I'm not saying that like in the later movies. I mean, yes, they took them out pretty easily, I would say, for the most part, because they knew how to take them out in that sense. But I'm just saying, your average Joe or your average person, if you were to go against these things,
Oh yeah,
you're not going after
If you saw these things roll up and you're like Han Solo and you just have a blaster. You're going to be fucked if you just stand there.
You're right, because again, the best. It's like a rolling tank. That's the best way to describe it. It was a rolling tank with a shield, because that's really what it was meant to be. It was supposed to be like this intimidating force. Because if Roger wasn't going to do it, these droidicas were basically supposed to like take you out in like 2.5 seconds. And then to move on, we also have our little cute robot named Wally.
Well, in the newer movie, he was cute. If you actually,
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, you're saying there was an older version of Wally?
yeah, if you look at the first appearance, it was 1978.
Holy shit. I did not know that.
But he looks like your typical, he looks like your typical like robot.
I never knew there was a 1978 version. I had no idea. I didn't realize that was one of those movies that they just kind of like repurposed, I guess, in an animated form.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he was the ship's robot aboard the starship Heart of Gold. But he was originally built as one of the many failed prototypes of Sirius Cybernetic Corporation's GPP, which is Genuine People's Personalities Technology.
But here's the funny part. In this movie, just like if you looked at...
Well, this is why it failed, because he is afflicted with severe depression and boredom.
Oh, no. But so this is what I was going to say. What's that one movie I think you and I were talking about a while back? Because I actually just watched it just so I could get some of the references. It was the, don't you put Gatorade on the plants? It makes it grow, right? You know what I'm saying? What is that movie?
Idiocracy.
So the reason why I'm saying this is because in Wall-E, they die, the people, because they die because they're fat. Just so we're clear. And there's no technically human beings.
Right.
But because they're fat and they die because of that. That's why I mentioned Idiocracy, because that's the same mentality of like just basically dumb and fat, and they just become helpless.
For him, like, he has the brain the size of a planet.
Ooh, Wall-E?
Are we talking Wall-E?
I don't know. Is that what we're talking about still?
Oh, you're talking Wall-E. I'm talking Marvin.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, we're talking about two different things. Okay,
we're talking two different robots.
Right. Well, my bad. So I guess we're going to forget Wall-E for a second. I guess we're talking about Marvin. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so yeah, this is Marvin, the paranoid android from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Makes more sense now. Got it.
Yes. So yes, this one again was built on the Heart of Gold, which is he was made to represent like a genuine people's personality.
Okay.
But it had failed, and he has the brain the size of a planet, which if he was given a chance to use it, which is seldom, he would not be obviously depressed and bored. But generally, like, they give him mundane jobs like opening a door.
So like a butler.
It's not even that. Like, they just give him like, kind of dumb things to do, and not like what he's actually tasked to accomplish.
Okay.
So that's kind of like the horror of his existence, is that there's no task that he could be given that would occupy even like the tiniest fraction of his intellect. So he claims that he is 50,000 times more intelligent than a human, or 30 billion times more intelligent than a live mattress. I don't know what that means, but
neither do I. That doesn't.
It makes sense if you watch the movie, but
okay. So I mean, we're gonna move on because I know there's still a bunch more, but like just naming a couple real quick. So like, Sonny from iRobot with Will Smith and whatnot. I mean, it's kind of weird because you start to look at some of these robots, and it's like you look at Sonny here. It's like he was a defect robot. Because the reason why I say it is because wasn't programmed the way you would think he'd want to be programmed. He's actually more like he has a conscious, like he's more self-aware of the situation. He becomes more of a rebel, so he's not really part of that. Like
he's somehow able to break and for a lot of these, like you have to go back into like classic literature for a lot of the robots, because especially this movie, comes from one of the more like Isaac Asimov like robot kind of like movie kind of tropes where there are robot like rules.
Yeah. Or laws, basically.
There are certain laws that all robots like follow in their programming, and Sonny is one that somehow is able to not follow them.
Right, it becomes like a defect for him.
Right,
and then it just kind of like he becomes more of a rebel, and that's kind of what I was mentioning in that kind of piece there. But I know you'll probably mention this next one since I don't really know.
Bishop. Bishop is kind of like he's a series of, and I don't really know if you call him like a robot per se, more of a synthetic humanoid.
Okay. I don't.
Only because like the insides of them are like I guess if you took like maybe like the ending part of Bicentennial Man.
Oh, it's okay. That's what we talked about earlier.
Where like he looks human, but the insides are like
the synthetic
like pumps and valves, and like like it pumps like white fluid instead of
like
blood.
Like a blue or something weird like that.
But yeah, he's basically like Bishop is a copy of like the owner of Wyland Corp, which is in Aliens.
Okay.
But Bishop is kind of like in future movies and another Alien franchises, like even in the prequel movies, like takes on different forms. Like there are different variants of him.
Oh, is it?
So in Alien, Bishop is not actually Bishop. It's a different person. It's a different
body or different being, I guess, if you want to say it.
Yeah. So, but Bishop in Aliens, is the main kind of like he exists like in a lot of the other sequels, but the robotic part of Bishop is kind of like what we're talking about.
Yeah. And so like I mentioned real quick, since I'll kind of jump real quick. So like Bicentennial Man, what we just talked about. So like this is kind of like Robin Williams' like, wouldn't say like earliest roles, but definitely an earlier role. Basically he plays like an android in a sense, and he basically follows his family, falls in love with this woman, but he asks basically inventor.
He desires to be like treated like a person, and they're told like, well, you don't have a soul, so you can't
do that. And so like he fights it, and then basically talks to the guy like, hey, could you make me more human?
Right.
And then gives him the skin, gives him the, like we talked about, like the body parts and stuff like that, and it actually gets like.
It allows him to age and all that other jazz, and he gets to the point where he's like on his deathbed, and
it's a great movie.
I don't think it's like actually until he dies that they like
consider him a human being at that point. Right. Which honestly, I will tell you right now, honestly, it's a good movie. I like that movie. It's a really, if you like that kind of stuff, early on with Robin Williams, I think it's a great movie.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
And then when we're talking about like we've talked about. Like RoboCop.
Let's get into that one, because that one I think is one of the debate ones.
This is a hard one
because I think with RoboCop, like, is he not? I mean, technically,
this is kind of like the same thing. This is what I'm going to say. It so like you got this one, you got Cyborg, you got things like that where you're kind of like battling.
I mean, you also got like the General Grievous.
Yeah, so
it's kind of the same thing. Like he's got a head, he's got a brain. I mean, in the newer version, I think he also had lungs. In the newer RoboCop, he also had lungs. So is he more like Darth Vader, where he's got robotic limbs, but
he's got a head and he's got heart, and
he's got human,
for the most part.
He's human, maybe like 2 to 5%, but 95%
It's mostly a robot. Yeah,
robots. Does that qualify him as a robot, or does it qualify him?
Right, and then when you start looking at Cyborg, it's like, he has one regular arm, he has a cybernetic arm, but he also has, technically, he doesn't even have a heart. Technically, it's more of it's like the Doomsday or whatever that Doom planet. I can't remember what the hell it's
But
called.
he's got a head too, doesn't he? I mean,
He's got a regular head, yes.
Yes.
But he's got a half. He's like half
of a
a head. So it's kind of weird.
really
And that's what
complicated,
I mean. And so like this is where we're trying to figure out if, are they considered robots or are they, considered something else? Because I understand like when you look at robots, there's also different categories, like we mentioned, like androids, right? So like you're synthetic, this or that. So this is where I would feel like, like what category, if you could place them in, would you rather put them in? You know what I mean? Like, would you rather say, okay, well, they're like a humanoid robot? Or, are they a full robot, even though they have technically like human body parts of some sort, like a head or, some, let's say a spine and, maybe some nerves and some other things that basically could consider that, like this is where I agree with Matt. It's hard to decide whether or not they're full on robot or are they, some version of a humanoid, like android or, whatever. I don't know, because this is where I'm saying there's so many different categories to this. It's like, again, when we look back at defining the robot piece to this, I mean, yes, they are considered a robot in some ways, but they're also human because, or I guess in Grievous's case, more alien-like, only because that's where they originally started out. They started out as their human or alien form, right? And then they became cybernetic, or they became more of a robot because of whatever happened to them that made them like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's where I agree. I don't know. I really don't know that answer, Matt.
Yeah, move on to the next one, because I'm actually going to log into Chat GPT over here, and I'm going
you're gonna look it up?
I'm going to
That gives you an answer?
I am going to ask AI and see what AI tells me.
All right, well, you do that. I'm gonna talk about a couple things. So let's start here. Let's go with the fembots. So these
fembots
in Austin Powers. Okay, so have you ever seen Austin Powers? It's a great movie, or really trilogy of movies. Fembots were I'm trying to remember. I think they were the beginning ones, but like basically it was just like, again, really hot women that just basically had guns from their boobs. I mean, that's really the best way to put it.
Yeah.
They
were hot chicks with
basically assassins, assassin robots. I mean, it's really the best way to put it. But go ahead.
Chat GPT officially says RoboCop is a cyborg. Which is a combination of both human and robotic elements.
Okay, so then, cyborg being cyborg, I mean, I guess that would make sense on that piece too. But then Grievous, I guess, would be considered a cyborg because, I mean, granted, it's not human, but it's more of an alien. So it's more like an alien mixed with a robot,
So yeah, I mean, he's got his brain and some organs into a robotic body.
Okay, so then technically it is a robot, just a different variation of a robot.
He's a cyborg.
Well, he's a different variation of a robot. You know what I mean? Like, because there's different variations of robots.
Right.
Because a cyborg is, like you said, half and half, or half of something and half of another. So that's what I would think, right? Because I mean, even with Cyborg, in DC, that's kind of the same. Concept.
He still would be a cyborg, but I wouldn't classify him as a 100% robot.
But that's why I said a variation of a robot. I didn't say like a full-on robot. I was saying a different version of it, I guess, if you want to call it. But yeah, I like I said, I think that's the best way to put it. It's like, there's different variations, whether you're 100% or, let's say 90%, whatever. It all depends.
All right. So let's
hold on a second. Don't you all write me. I know what the time is. All right. Anyways.
All right. So you mentioned fembots, which they were pretty formidable.
Oh yeah. I mean, you wouldn't want to fuck with them personally.
Well,
and we already talked about Bicentennial Man because that we did.
So I know you don't know who Johnny Five is, which is a pretty sad moment in my life right now.
Oh, sorry.
And I'm sure,
because I
I'm sure when Jeff listens to this,
either Jeff or my dad or whoever,
he would also agree on you not knowing who Johnny Five.
Sorry, I guess. You know what? I'm going to look him up right now just so I can just understand who he is.
Johnny Five is alive.
Yes, this is what I'm saying.
You know, hey. But Johnny Five is a pretty popular 80s robot. If you've ever seen Short Circuit, Ed 209 is a RoboCop, machine robot as well. Mecha Godzilla.
Oh, I've seen Johnny. I just never knew the name. No, but I have seen, this robot.
Yeah.
Yes, I didn't know what was the name of the robot. I'm sorry.
I'm just going to move through some of these real fast, even the highlighted ones until we get to TV shows. Some of the TV show ones. Because I really do want to get into our ultimate picks for our robot teams.
All right.
Because we're getting into the hour mark, so.
We'll be fine.
But Dot Matrix and Spaceballs, which is your C-3PO kind of satire parody. The Sentinels in the Matrix, which were your kind of robotic octopus type machine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. I know. Yeah.
You also have the Sentinels in X-Men, which were completely different robots, and they were like the tall,
usually purple
mutant hunting
machines. Yeah.
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. You had the evil robot usses and the good robot usses.
I'm not even going to go there.
Hey.
It's a good movie in all the movies that they made, but it's just, I know it's like too complicated sometimes with them, especially how they describe it.
It was, it's so awesome. Like when they go to the hardware store and they're like building, like they're it's just, you have to watch the movie because it's so fucking
and then you
funny.
have that in the newer one that came out too. Well, actually, no, that was the third one, right? Because then they made the first two. Right, and then they made this one.
They made the newer one, yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, go ahead.
It was still a good one. Ultron and Vision.
If you don't know Marvel, I'm just going to say it. You might want to look these two up because they're pretty important.
Before they make them female.
We're not going to go there. Please don't. Please, for the love of God, don't.
All right, so TV shows, B9, which was a robot from Lost in Space. There's an original one that they made in the 70s, and then the newer one, which is, I believe, Netflix? Is it Netflix?
I think maybe. Yeah, that sounds about right.
The replicants, which were in Blade Runner, those were, if you've ever seen Blade Runner, that was Harrison Ford.
That's what I was about to say.
But he was kind of the one that would really hunt down the replicants. They were these kind of like robots that were, they would hide, and he would ask like these really like, if you made a tuna fish sandwich, would you eat it on a Thursday at 2:00, or would you leave it out on the counter and wait until Friday and eat it at 9:00? It would be like really random fucking questions because the replicants were androids. Like they were,
because they're going to tell you a different answer than clearly what somebody would say.
They would not be able to answer the question, and like they'd get all sweaty, and like so he would know right away, like,
yeah, you're a replicant. I'm going to kill you.
You're a replicant, so he would arrest them and whatever. Robot Chicken, that's a pretty popular one.
I was going to say Seth Green. If you don't know who Seth Green is, come on, get with the program.
Another popular one, Data from Star Trek.
Yep. Looks basically like he's gold. Is the best way to put it.
It's kind of like
a goldish, like a metallic.
Like he's sickly.
But it does look like he's got a. What is that? What is it when your liver's failing? Like that I'm trying to remember what
it's like. Your skin's like
cirrhosis. He looks like he was in has cirrhosis or something like that.
But like it doesn't help that his eyes are like yellow too. Like
that's what I mean. Yeah, they're like you're dying from your liver. That's kind of what he looks like. It's just that somebody that's like, oh hey, don't worry about me. I'm just dying over here. It's all good.
But like early, I think being one that like watched. I haven't watched like a lot of Next Generation. But like the early Data, I think was better. Only because like he was much more grounded and like logical, like kind of like your like Data would have been if you compared them to like the early Star Trek, like kind of your Spock.
No, I would agree. Yes, that would
Very logical up until they started adding like the emotion chip kind of bullshit into it, where like, you know, he was starting to tell like jokes and then like randomly like he would be in a scene and he was just ha 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 ha. Like, what are you doing? Like
stop making this try to be funny right now, but it's not that funny.
I mean, it is what it is. Like you have to give Data like.
Yeah, I know. You got to give them upgrades or updates or something like that.
You have to give them like depth, right? You have to give them a story, but it's weird. The Cylons, I don't know a lot about the Cylons. I know that they were like a robotic race that, you know, that they fought against in the show, but
all I got to say is, Dad, if you're listening upstairs, maybe you can enlighten us, okay? Because I know you watched it, but we're going to keep
You can even comment on it.
yeah. Hey, Dad. Look at that. Hey, why don't you get your ass downstairs and you can start commenting on shit, Dad?
Mystery Science Theater 3000. So there's Tom Servo, Crow T, Robot, Gypsy, and Cambot in that show.
And yes, this is, okay, I'm going to rephrase this because I said this earlier and I messed up. This is Matt's, one of his favorite all-time shows is, even though it's not running anymore that I can think of, right? Because
they did newer.
They did a new one, yes.
They did newer episodes. They're not as good as like the older ones. They are funny, but they're not as funny. But the one thing that I didn't realize, and you know, moving on after this, is that the movies that they use in Mystery Science Theater are public domain movies.
Yeah, and
I didn't realize this. Yeah, I didn't realize this. Like when, you know, you're watching it and you're like, you know, a lot of like I think they're just fucking hilarious. My wife just is like, this is dumb. It is dumb. I'm not watching this.
So
I think they're freaking hilarious. But like, you know, one day I was like just looking up public domain movies just to see like what was in there. And I started seeing like all of these movies that I remember from Mystery Science Theater. I'm like, oh, that's why they're able to do them. Interesting.
Well, I mean, yeah, because I mean, you can't just watch like the Avengers and be like, oh, hey, there we go. Let's just start watching it and let's start commenting on it before Disney be like, hey, why are you doing that shit, you motherfucker? You know. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I mean,
but there's only a couple left. So Alpha 5, if Mighty Morphin Power Rangers,
that's classic. I'm sorry, that's classic. I mean, I don't know. I think I made that and you were like, wow, you can actually like voice him. I'm like, yeah, probably could. Whatever. I don't give a fuck. It don't matter to me. And then you got the Daleks from Doctor Who, which, like, again, we're talking about one of the longest running British shows of all time.
Who were they licking?
The Daleks?
They might not be licking
The Lex? The what?
The Daleks?
Daleks, this, you know, I mean, never mind. We're not going to go there right now.
The Dalek this.
Okay. You said a comment earlier, and I don't want you to go any further than that. Anyways, then you got the Cybermen, which I didn't really know who they were off the top of my head.
Never mind.
Yeah, don't even go there, man. Don't even go there. Anyways, I mean,
they're from the same, they're from the same universe.
Oh, of course they are. Anyways, so yes, we've only mentioned clearly a handful because, like I said, we could be spending a long time.
There's a lot more robots than that, but yeah, we're not going to go much further than that. But I did commission John to pick his ultimate robot team, and I picked my ultimate robot team. And I will mention my 5, and then you can mention your 5.
Okay.
So I got Optimus Prime, the T-1000, Mecha Godzilla, RoboCop, and I said Droidicuz.
Oh, because he wants an army of them, not so much just
plural. Because I needed an army of something. So,
you know what? Why don't you explain yourself on each one of these real quick?
Yeah, so that's what I was going to do.
Okay, all right.
So the Droidicas obviously are my army, right? RoboCop is really just kind of the morally correct. So he's kind of like the morally correct, like kind of soldierish, like. Mecha Godzilla, I mean,
Optimus Prime could have fit that soldierish.
Well, I put him in that leader role.
I mean, I could see that. I could clearly see why you did that.
So yeah, Optimus Prime is obviously the leader. RoboCop is more for like morality and what's correct and what's not, like what's good and what's bad. Mechagodzilla, he's kind of the tank of the group, like the muscle. Like if we need we just need this destroyed, go for it. And then the T-1000, yeah, good luck killing that thing. Because outside of maybe the Mechagodzilla could destroy the T-1000 with or Godzilla, himself with the radiation breath.
Yeah.
But I mean, outside of like, I don't know of a place, like if one of these walked into this house, I don't know of a place in Nashua that melts metal. And so
I don't either.
And so I don't know of a place near here, if that thing was chasing me, that I could melt that thing down.
And like I said, man, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know.
We would be
no idea. Oh yeah, we'd be fucked no matter which way you look at it. And any one of these robots, I mean, besides like Optimus Prime, I think he's the only one that would maybe save any one of us. But at that point, it's like maybe if depending.
And this is going along with the idea that I've reprogrammed it.
Yeah, right. But if you didn't, then good luck.
But that's going along with that I've reprogrammed it, and the Mechagodzilla is mine. Like it's on my team, so it's doing what I'm functioning. Because Mechagodzilla, like if you don't know who Mechagodzilla is,
oh boy,
they create like I don't know who they are, but the Japanese.
Well,
I'm assuming that
in the newer Godzilla movies that they've been making, I know it was a corporation that they did like
they created it to basically
defeat
Godzilla.
Right, but it was like they were taking...
Which Godzilla actually defeats it anyways, but...
I know, but but that's kind of also in the original Godzilla movies in general, but neither here or there.
Yeah, because it just doesn't have the same like natural, I guess, radiation level power that Godzilla actually has. Mechagodzilla just kind of has like a manufactured radiation power, which is still pretty powerful, but that's who I would still use because I can't use Godzilla because Godzilla's real.
That's true. That is true. So
but that would be my team.
This is just me. Okay. So I'm going to start. It's a little different than yours. So if I'm going to go with an army, okay, kind of like what you were mentioning, I'm going to go with the Sentinels. Sentinels, okay, because plural. Okay.
Which Sentinels though?
Hold on.
Not Matrix.
Yeah, not Matrix. Sorry. No, we're talking the X-Men Sentinels. If I was to reprogram them to not kill mutants in the sense.
Okay.
Okay. Just plain old Sentinel robots. Okay. As an army. I'll start with that. Okay. Then, because I was kind of like looking at your list here for a second. So I'm going to go with a different approach. What I'm going to do is also get somebody that is very, very intelligent. Okay, because I would think that I would need some, like if I had a robot, I would hope that maybe they can be the kind of like the inventor or like, kind of give the ideas and kind of keep, things moving along if need be. So I was thinking more, this is kind of like a toss up, but like either Ultron or like an Alpha 5. Somebody that kind of like the brains in a sense, has that kind of vision in a sense.
We got to pick one or the other.
I know. This is a tough one. I would say, okay, if I had to really choose, if I really wanted someone smart and funny, then I'm just going to go Alpha 5. Because I kind of wanted the like, like the kind of the humorous kind of side too a little bit. I think I'll go Alpha 5. I'm going to go Alpha 5 just for the shits and giggles here.
I think that's probably a better choice.
Well, yeah, than Ultron, yes.
You obviously don't know what the fuck Ultron.
Oh, I understand. Because the problem, here's the problem. Even if I did reprogram him, he'd probably reprogram himself just to come back and do his shit. Yeah. No, I'd rather get Alpha.
And there wouldn't be just for him either.
No,
there would be like there would be like thousands of him, like in Avengers.
Yeah, exactly. See, this is also where I was kind of like looking around a little bit, but I also would look at, who was it? I was just looking at him. I was actually looking at, because you were saying about a moral compass. This is where I was kind of thinking this a little bit. I was actually kind of looking at Bicentennial Man, like Andrew, right? Because like the way I look at it is like, yes, he understands that he's a robot, but then when he becomes a human, You're right. I understand the aging part. I understand that. It doesn't matter. We can reprogram or whatever. The reason why I'm saying this is because he is kind of that moral compass, in my opinion.
But he would be a non-fighting participant, I'm assuming.
Yes, I mean he would probably be.
So now you have probably 2 non-fighting participants.
So far, I just hold on there.
I'm just trying to make sense of your
understand.
list.
I know, but yes, these 2 would be hanging out, meaning Alpha 5 and Bicentennial Man, kind of get the.
So they'd be like kind of they'd be cracking each other up, like
they'd be cracking them up, all that fun stuff.
Be like Banner and like Tony.
Yeah, just hanging out. And you're like, like the ay, and the stupid Robin Williams. I can't remember this fucking laugh. Trying to think. Oh, yes. Did I? No. Oh, I didn't mention this. Iron Giant. I wanted to get Iron Giant. So I wanted to use the Sentinels and Iron Giant. Because I think with Iron Giant, right? Because I know technically with him, he can go kind of the good and the bad. Because, in the movie, I know you wasn't your favorite movie, whatever. He does end up at one point, like, you flip a switch and he turns into this fucking, basically, I'm going to take over the fucking town and just like destroy the shit out of everything. So if I wanted to switch him up, I could be like, okay, you know what? You're going to protect some people. We're going to flip the switch real quick. Let's get some fighting mode in here.
I mean, I didn't necessarily say we were up against each other. I just said
you're saying
kind of like our ultimate team. Like if we were needing to defend like the Earth or something.
Well, you never. I just was assuming we were fighting each other. If we were,
yeah. I mean,
well, I gotta pick something here. But no, I would say the other one.
It would be like when we did Super Fight. Like nobody would ever come up with an answer.
Nobody would ever get the right answer for that matter.
Yeah.
The last one. See, this is where it was kind of tough. See, I was looking at, I was pissed that you chose fucking Optimus because I was like, I don't want to pick the same thing because I was really like, I
had to pick Optimus Prime because I think he's just kind of the ultimate leader. And with
it just,
with the T-1000, I mean, he can literally just look like anybody. He can be like, he can actually be Optimus Prime's weapon.
No, I mean, and you're right, and that's the problem. And I was thinking like a lot of your choices make sense, and I understand that piece. I think for me it was more like, if I want to have like 2 individuals where, one can be the compass, one can be the smart, kind of funny, kind of the group, and then like have the Sentinel army, like, okay, I have an army, I can continuously make them do whatever. Having Iron Giant, having that capability of like having the good, being like fighting and defending Earth and whatever. But also if I really wanted to be like, hey, you want to fuck some shit up? Hold on, let me flip the switch real quick. But the last one, it was like, yeah, well, now I need a leader. I need somebody that can like lead them all and still fight. That's the biggest part here is like being able to fight. Because if I can't have anybody that fights, then I was like, well, then I don't want 3 non-participating fucking people, So I had to have somebody. So like, this is where I was like, okay, I really want, Optimus, but then I'm like, what about Mega Man, even though he's young? Having the different capabilities, right? Because he is.
Well, I mean, I don't think there's an age involved because he's an android.
No, so. I know he's an android, but like when I'm looking at Mega Man, like to me, like even though he has a younger appearance. Okay, that's what I'm saying here. More of a younger appearance. I think he could be a good leader, even though he might seem a little immature. I think he could, kind of get into that role of maybe leading them in a sense. So like Alpha 5 could be a good leader too. In a sense, if he's not somebody.
I mean, I don't know if Alpha 5 could be. He seems to be more of a support.
Well, he's more support, but he's smart. So it's not like he doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely smart. Yeah,
but like I'm saying, like so with Mega Man, it's like I'm not saying like a whole lot about him, but like I mean, if I didn't have the option right now, because I want to be different from you, so I'm thinking, okay, so really my logical choice, if it was me. I would say someone like Mega Man. I'm not going to pick Bender. Bender would be the dumbest choice I would ever fucking pick as a leader. That would just be the dumbest thing I could choose. But like, I could have easily chose Baymax was another good one, or not maybe as a leader, but like as another support in a sense. But to me, I think Mega Man would, because it has like abilities.
I'm surprised that you wouldn't have chosen like Cyrax. I was thinking Mortal Kombat. But
to me, the problem is kind of like that whole Ultron thing. I'm not saying that they would do it, but if they found a way to reprogram themselves and they go back to their original forms and their original selves, Yeah, they're not staying very long, or they'd fucking kill me too while I'm at it. Like.
But that's the thing. I mean, I think if you were not saying that you're part of the Lin Kuei, but if they are assassins. So I mean, if you had them on your team, that would suggest like you had them for that specific purpose. But,
I mean, and again, like this is where I'm saying, because I'm just thinking more like if in case, just like Ultron, if they find a way to reprogram.
I also thought myself the fembots. That was my first choice.
I was thinking that, but I was like, I don't know. I think that would be more distracting on my part, because I would be like, how you doing? Hey, are you liking that over there? No, but you know what I mean? I'd be like, nah, I can't do that. It's too distracting for me. If I need somebody to like save the world, I probably wouldn't choose fembots. I would probably just go with, like I said, some of what I chose. I mean, just to kind of get more of a, certain things. I mean, that's just me. I mean, I get it. I know we were different. I mean, like I said, honestly, I would definitely would have chose leader if you didn't pick him. I was like, Optimus Prime would have been my best fucking choice because he's like the overall, like your ace in the hole.
Right.
That's literally what it is. It's the ace in the hole. Like,
obviously, like Optimus Prime is like your ultimate like good guy, leader. Like
he kicks some ass, like does everything.
Right.
Like that is the dude you want on your team.
And yeah, I mean the T-1000. Listen, like that was kind of like my shot in the dark. Like assuming that I have reprogrammed him
right now,
and he is like the T-100, the T-800 that you see in the movies. Like he is literally just doing what I am telling him to do.
Right, but that's the thing. Now, if it wasn't, this is where I would be like, okay, well now I got to think about their.
Well, now I got to think about like he's only going to do what Skynet is telling him to do.
Right.
And if he's really just like continuing to just try to kill either Sarah or John Connor.
Yeah, then you're like, well, fuck it. There's no point in having him on the team.
Because, I mean, here's the thing with any Terminator whatsoever. As soon as they kill their target, like if their target was John and this T-1000 kills John, or say like, Alpha 5.
Oh, here we go.
The T-1000, I programmed this thing to kill Alpha 5, and it kills him flat out. He is going to shut down.
Yeah, because he has no purpose anymore.
Because he has no more programming. That's it. He is going to shut down until he gets another
link, right, or message or something that's saying, hey, you need to do this.
He gets another target or another mission. Then he will power back up and he will go and do. That's any Terminator whatsoever in any of these movies. They will, once their mission is over, they literally power down until Skynet like literally uploads another mission parameter.
I mean, to me, it's like I get the idea, but at the same time, it's like this is where I'm like, I understand as a robot, you're like, we'll just power down because you don't need to be wasting energy. That's really what their process or probably their thought process is. But like for us, it's like there's so many things that you could be doing right now, and you could be
who would be your ace in the hole leader.
Who?
And I know, I know in the movie and in the book, he is kind of depressed and bored.
Okay.
But he's depressed and bored because he's not using the brain that he has. That's Marvin, the paranoid android.
I mean, if I remember seeing the movie a little bit. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I mean, maybe. I mean, you could have used that easily.
I could have, but it's only because, like, I only mention that is because, like, his whole purpose is to be used for his brain. And he's basically being used to, like, go get me a drink. Can you open this door for me? Can you flush the toilet for me?
Yeah, he's doing minimal tasks. He's not being used to his full extent. I understand that.
He's not doing things that, like, he wants to basically, like, compute, like, the meaning of life. Well, like that's like what he wants to he wants to compute like heavy mathematics and like,
you know who reminds me of now I'm thinking about it? It's like Brainiac in DC. I mean, granted, Brainiac's more of a psychotic, or just the one being you don't ever really want to face, basically, in DC when it comes to like Superman, all that stuff. But like that's kind of the same idea without the evilness to it, you know?
Yeah.
But like
he's incredibly smart. And I mean, he would be like your, if you had him on a team, he would be like your robot that would be like, listen, we need a plan to defeat these robots that are coming for us. You're the only one that has a brain that's big enough.
I mean, yeah,
to come up with a plan.
I mean, you could use that as like this is where I'm going to say this. For me, it would be more like he'd be. I'm not saying that it wouldn't be a major part. I wouldn't say he would be the leader in a sense. He could be, but reality is he's more of a support. But again, having the brain, having the planning, strategical like maneuvers and stuff like that.
I don't have a strategy guy on my team.
You're right. You only have muscle. You basically have muscle and maybe like a little bit of mental capacity with Optimus in a sense. Everyone else is kind of like, we're just going to beat shit up or we're just going to throw them the fuck away. I was thinking more like, okay, so I need a moral compass. I need, somebody who's smart. I need to have like, of course, muscle too. I need to have some brain and all that too. But then I was like, okay, well, I need to have, again, that moral compass.
If I swapped anybody out, I probably would swap RoboCop out to get rid of them. I mean, I would get rid of the moral compass, but I would still have it with Optimus.
Oh yeah, you definitely would.
But I honestly, the smartest probably like robot that's on this list is Marvin.
I mean, yeah,
honestly.
I mean, well, that's what I mean. Like, it depends on, like I said, there's so many other robots. I mean, if we had the time to go through them all,
yeah.
I mean, like I said, the reason why I mentioned Brainiac in a sense is because he's a smart, android being.
And if you had any type of control, which I mean, Ultron's kind of your shot in the dark, but if you had any type
shot in the dark,
if you had any type of control over Ultron, which you wouldn't,
that's all I got to say.
He like you say in Avengers, like he would multiply
over and over and over,
and you would have an army that's like.
Well, that's
innumerable.
Why that's why I'm saying like Ultron, your Brainiac, those kinds of people. Like, good luck trying to replicate them, or good luck trying to do that, because that's what they do. They just basically they can just replicate their body, and they can just go and go into things that you never would have thought that would have been there. Like, so like right now, like if this is the case, they would be in my phone, they'd be in the laptop, they'd be in this thing, anything electronic, anything that has a screen or anything that's like whatever, like they would be in that. But like that's why I agree with Matt. It's hard to kind of justify, because that's what I'm saying, like the ultimate team, and we were just basing it off of certain things. But, maybe, guys, that as part of your challenge this week, you could let us know what your ultimate team is, and let us know, like, what are some different robots that you think, and maybe explain
either YouTube or Spotify. This is like you got, anybody who's listening, if you got this far, we appreciate it. But if you got this far, this is your challenge in the comments, either on Spotify or YouTube. Let us know.
Yeah, what's your ultimate team?
What robots are on your ultimate team,
and explain why. Tell us why you think that, or tell us why.
Even if you don't, just make a list of who your ultimate team of robots are, and we will make sure that we comment back.
Yeah, and I'd be curious to hear more. Maybe there's going to be robots we missed.
Maybe there's robots that we missed, and if we did, we apologize, but.
Time is time.
we're at the end of this episode, so like we said at the start of it, give us a little fist bump, follow, interact, subscribe, and tell your friends, because we really do appreciate it, and it helps our social platforms grow when you guys do your stuff.
Yeah, and we just love the support that you guys give us and everything else, because unfortunately, last week, we couldn't be able to do it, unfortunately, personal reasons and medical reasons, and we don't need to go any further than that. But basically, just things happen and life happens. And so, we support, let's phrase that. We love the support that you guys give. But until next time, boys and girls,
stay geeky.